Hello, everybody. Welcome to my poster session. My name is Chavella Pittman, and I'm a professor of sociology at Dominican University. I also run a faculty development company called Effective and Efficient Faculty that supports faculty to thrive as their academics. So this poster is called Faculty Development, Faculty Capacity, and Improving Equity in Online Teaching. The gist of this poster is to talk about a problem and a solution. And the problem is that a lot of our faculty are burnt out. A lot of our faculty are overwhelmed. The research has been showing that for a while, actually, not just, due to the pandemic, not just recent to world things, these things, faculty burnout has been increasing over time for a range of reasons. And the burnout for online faculty in particular tends to be a little bit higher because they feel the need to be online 24/7 because students sometimes mistakenly equate that with connection. So, the load can be much more for faculty who are teaching online. But as I talk about in my book, Empowered, there are several areas in which, faculty are feeling overwhelmed or they are being overwhelmed. They're burnt out. They're having to expend a lot of emotional labor. They're having to expend a lot of affective labor. They're having to expend a lot of cognitive labor. And then teaching is actually, taking a lot of the prep itself is taking a lot of time. It's taking a lot of energy. So there are numerous ways in which faculty are being overwhelmed in the current moment, whether that's additional requests from administration to support students or students' own actual demands or technology. We're just burnt out in a lot of different areas. And that burnout has a lot of consequences for student learning. So as faculty burnout goes up, then, student learning actually goes down. So if we're trying to get faculty to engage in, you know, equity teaching practices in their online teaching, we can't ask them to do that if they're burnt out. We can, but they're not going to do it well, essentially. We can't ask them to implement practices that they already know. We can't ask them to learn new practices because there really just isn't space for them to do so. So the main problem that we're facing is that if you're burnt out as online faculty and you're overwhelmed, that can be a barrier to you engaging in online equity teaching. So the proposed solution is just that if we're going to have professional development opportunities to teach us equitable practices to help us implement the practices we already know, um, they have to be done in a way that, allows some community because that will boost online faculty's well-being. It needs to restore space for them to rest and recreate. It means it can't take up a lot of time. And it needs to provide them with skills, to boost their ability to do those teaching practices. What I'm saying in short form, we have to make it easier for online faculty to rest, regenerate, and learn new skills so they actually have space for equity teaching. So, based on the research on burnout, the causes of burnout, the areas of burnout, the different threats that a lot of diverse faculty, women faculty of color face, and again, broadly, a lot of these things are things that are facing faculty, online faculty, just disproportionately facing women faculty of color and diverse faculty. Based on all of that, what I did was I put together a tool that would help faculty developers design and refine professional development opportunities that reflect real life faculty constraints, right? So any workshop series or initiative that supports equity-based online teaching must be designed in ways that recognize real life faculty constraints. They can't be developed in La La Land. They can't be developed assuming that people have limitless time, they have limitless energy, that they have limitless, cognitive capacity. So what I did was put together a tool that would guide faculty developers, questions to ask themselves so that they can refine the programming that they already have, or so that they could, develop new programming that keeps real life constraints in mind. So, if you want the full tool, shoot me an email at Chavella@effectivefaculty.org. I don't have enough time to go through it in depth, but I'll at least tell you what some of the areas are. So, one area of the tool is that time is not neutral. Again, recognizing that time is an actual constraint. Like it's not just, it's not fake. It's a constraint. That cognitive load is finite. So that area of the tool reminds developers that faculty have a finite amount of cognitive load, and so they need to be um, laser focused on how much load faculty actually have when they're developing opportunities. Emotional energy is a real cost. Again, reminding developers that there is emotional labor that's being done. Asking faculty, developers who this design works for and who it doesn't. So reminding them that their design choices invite some people in, but also excludes people. And an impact to capacity checked area, which has prompts in it that ask faculty developers to keep in mind that, you want to design the best version of your program, and sometimes that's like bells and whistles, but sometimes you don't need bells and whistles. Sometimes that's actually a deterrent for faculty to participate. So it's asking faculty to think about the trade-off, right? So it's the impact they're getting worth the load, the energy, all of those things they're asking you to expend? Or is there a way to actually do that programming that isn't all the bells and whistles, but still the absolute best version, just that requires less things from faculty? So to give you an example of what this might look like or what it actually looks like on a tool, I've included one sample item from each section. So for the first section, that's, reminding you that time, though with developers, that time is not neutral. Um, you know, I'm asking faculty to ask this question of themselves. Could the same goal be met with less time? Shorter sessions, fewer meetings, asynchronous options. For cognitive load, asking them to be mindful. Are you stacking this opportunity on top of other initiatives, expectations, or changes? Right? Campuses have all sorts of things that are going on at one time. Keep those things in mind when you're asking faculty, so a lot of faculty are making changes to accessibility things at this current moment. So, a lot of people are trying to make changes to their programming to adjust for budgets or enrollment drops. So are we stacking this particular thing on top of another initiatives, expectations, or changes? And with that in mind, what adjustments would you make? For emotional energy, what choices, boundaries, or lighter touch options are built in? So are you presenting things as though they're absolutes and everything must be done? Or are you teaching faculty that they can make choices, that there's a lighter touch option versus the one that will take them 8 hours to implement or is the one that takes them an hour to implement? Are you teaching them how to have boundaries so that when they implement a particular practice, they won't get overwhelmed with what comes out of it? Who the design works for and who it doesn't. So what are most effective and usually most overextended teachers still see this as doable. A lot of times we design for the faculty who has all sorts of time or the person who shows up to the detriment, of their well-being, their energy, their capacity. We don't want to do that. So who are we inviting in and who are we excluding? An impact to capacity check. Is the expected impact proportional to the capacity we're asking faculty to spend? So again, is there a way to do it with less energy? Is this impact something that's going to be worth, 30 hours, 40 hours, or is it worth closer to 3? And so make adjustments accordingly. So again, this is a tool that I've put together, after sort of researching faculty burnout, where it comes from, strategies to thrive and be successful in the face of real life teaching challenges and constraints. And I wanted to be able to help developers put together programming that helps us put equity-based practices in place for our online teaching. So again, if you have any questions, reach out to me. Share, this with your faculty developers. Message me for the tools so that you can send it to your developer. If you're a developer, just reach me directly. I'm here to support. Thank you.